Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ita sarva durgani nat prasadat karishyasi atachitvam ahankaram nashroshyasi vinangshasi. Translation. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditional life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. But a person in full Krishna consciousness is not unduly anxious to execute the duties of this existence. The foolish cannot understand this great freedom from all anxiety. For one who acts in Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna becomes the most intimate friend. He always looks after his friend's comfort, and he gives himself to his friend, who is so devotedly engaged, working 24 hours a day to please the Lord. Therefore, no one should be carried away by the false ego of the bodily concept of life. One should not falsely think himself independent of the laws of material nature or free to act. He is already under strict material laws, but as soon as he acts in Krishna consciousness, he is liberated, free from the material perplexities. One should note very carefully that one who is not active in Krishna consciousness is losing himself in the material whirlpool, in the ocean of birth and death. No conditioned soul actually knows what is to be done and what is not to be done, but a person who has Krishna consciousness is free to act, because everything is prompted by Krishna from within and confirmed by the spiritual master. Krishna is telling Arjuna, don't worry, I'm your friend. You be conscious of me, I will look after you. Who can be a better friend than Krishna? Because he is all-powerful, and he's always with us. Chara sarva bhutana videsha arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutana yantrarudhani mayaya. We're all on this machine called this body. Every living being has a different kind of body, and Krishna accompanies us birth after birth. Even though we are not conscious of him, he is conscious of us. He's asking us to be Krishna conscious, but he's already conscious of us. Only we are not conscious of him. So he wants us to become conscious of him. He is our best friend because he always desires our benefit. Even though we don't act in a way that is conducive for our own benefit, and we don't act in such a way that is pleasing to Krishna, but he doesn't reject us. So he's the best of friends. As long as we're in material life, there must be many difficulties. As Arjuna certainly knew that, because the Pandavas had so many difficulties. Despite being devotees of Krishna, they had many difficulties. And in fact, it may be that taking up devotional service to Krishna, you may have more difficulties. If we say this, then immediately half the people may run out of the room and say, I don't want to serve Krishna. We go to God, praying, dear God, please relieve me from all my difficulties. But Krishna says, he doesn't say here that I will relieve you of your difficulties, but he says that you can pass over them. Now, generally people go to God. Generally people don't have a very clear idea. They think all the gods are the same. You can go to any god or any form that you imagine, and you should pray that God, if you're really there, you're more powerful than me, I presume, so why don't you solve my backache, or give me promotion, or get that person out of the office so he can get his job, or people go to, let me pass my examination. People go with different desires. Give me this, give me that. Dhanam Dehi is the main thing. Give me lots of money. But material life is full of difficulties. Whatever you get, even if you get lots of money, if you get lots of money, then you'll just get lots of difficulties in another way, that's all. You may think I have so many difficulties because I don't have enough money. But if you have enough money, you'll have difficulties in another way. Then you'll have difficulties, someone wants to steal your money. Or how to keep the taxman from taking it all away. Then you get a big bungalow, you have to think how to maintain it all. A set of problems, that's all. The Bhagavatam describes that material life, trying to solve material difficulties by material means, is just like a person who's holding a big weight on their shoulder. So he thinks, what to do? How can I solve this problem? I got the solution. Move it onto the other shoulder. Now the pain here is relieved. But you just moved it from one place to another. There's no material solution to material problems because as long as we're in this material world, you must suffer. Birth, death, old age, disease. Suffering, suffering, suffering. So Krishna sometimes gives his devotees more difficulties. It's quite opposite to general impression of God. He asked Krishna, how do we know if someone has got your mercy? Because Yudhishthira Maharaj was a great devotee of Krishna from his very birth. But throughout his life, he had to go through so many difficulties. He lost his father at a young age. And he lost the kingdom. He was humiliated in so many ways. So it might have been he was almost asking that, well, if this is what being a devotee of you is, then what's the fun? What's the benefit? He asked, what is the symptom of someone who has got your mercy, Krishna? So Krishna says, Yasyam anugrahanami harishe tattanam shana. Someone who I'm very kind to, I gradually take all their money away from. Everyone's going to go, Dhanam Devi. Krishna is saying, no, I'm saying to you, Dhanam Devi. I'll take it from you. So, why is that? What happens is that such a person, then he has nothing left but Krishna. Then he thinks, well, normally if we have money, we depend on money. We think that my home will protect me. But ultimately, no one can protect us. What is there to protect? Because if we have the money, then we think that this ahankar, I am this body, is increased. But at the time of death, none of these things can help you. They're called asat sainya, useless soldiers. It means if we're thinking, my friends, my family, my bank balance, these things will protect me. They cannot. So Krishna, he doesn't say that if you become my devotee, I will take away all your problems. This is what Arjuna thought. He thought, I'll tell Krishna, I don't want to fight. And Krishna, he's a reasonable fellow. So, he'll agree. That's a good idea. Why don't we just wave a flag and say, we are peace lovers, pacifists, non-violence, and we can live very peacefully. Krishna said, forget it, you fool. Vashochanan vashochastram pragyavadam chabhasase katasu nagatasum cha nanu shochanti pandita. He said, you're talking as if you're a big learned fellow, but you know the ABCs. You don't know what's what. You're lamenting for the body that all these people will be killed, but don't you know they're already killed? Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha. Everyone is born has to die. And you're a Kshatriya, you're supposed to fight. So why are you neglecting your duty? So he didn't want Arjuna to give up his duty of fighting, even though it was unpalatable. He didn't want to do it. Krishna said, Namanasvara yudhyacha. Your main business is to remember me. Arjuna's proposition was, let me leave the fighting. I'll just think of Krishna. Krishna said, that's good, you think of me, but to fight also. That you have to do also, you can't avoid. So it's not that everyone is a fighter. Arjuna was trained as a Kshatriya. So everyone has different worldly duties. As long as we're in this world, we have certain duties pertaining to the body. We have our constitutional duty, which is to serve Krishna, because constitutionally we are part and parcel of Krishna. But as long as we're in this material world, we have some conditional duty also. Now that means in relation to the body. Just like you have to take a bath, brush your teeth, then if you have family, you have to do something to maintain them. These are conditional duties. They're not as important as the constitutional duty, which is to serve Krishna. But generally the two things should go on side by side. That means everyone is brushing their teeth, I hope. Even the non-devotees are brushing teeth and the devotees are brushing their teeth. But a devotee does it, why? If the non-devotee is brushing their teeth to get the Colgate ring of confidence or whatever it is, to make their body look very nice for sense gratification. And a devotee is brushing his teeth because he has to serve the Lord. He has to honor the prasadam. His mouth has to be clean and fresh, not smelling when he goes to worship the deity. He has to maintain his health. So for this he takes early morning bath, fresh cloth, all these things, to be pure to serve the Lord, to be healthy to serve the Lord. So devotee he does activities for health and hygiene for the sake of serving the Lord. Devotee if he has family members, family duties, he does that for the sake of serving them. Everything is dovetailed in Krishna's service for the sake of serving the Lord. Now, the very nature of this material world is there will be difficulties. Additional life means there will be difficulties. If you have to move in this world at all, there are going to be difficulties, especially in Kali Yuga, because Kali Yuga means Kalaha Yuga, the age of quarrel. There will always be difficulties, even if you don't seek it. Even if you're very moral and good and honest, there'll always someone unnecessarily will become envious of you, or there will be some misunderstanding, or without desires, you'll get some serious health problem, or your relative will get some serious problem, will attack you. Or this material world is such that you cannot live peacefully here. Therefore, even if you are living peacefully, you know that the nature of this material world is that it's not a good place. So there's always some anxiety that someone may come and steal everything, or the economy here may collapse and they'll throw us all back to India, and then what will we do? There's always some anxiety. And there's always some problem. That is, who can say that they don't know any anxiety? Or sometimes they're frustrated, or there may be some discouragement, disappointment, depression. This is life in the material world. But Krishna says, you think of me. Chaitasa sarva durgani mat prasada karishyati. And you become conscious of me, Krishna says. I will look after you. Krishna doesn't say, I'm going to come and arrange your life in such a way that there won't be problems. There will be problems. Don't think there won't be problems. Even if you arrange very nicely, very peacefully, at least there will be birth, death, old age and disease. You cannot avoid. And even if you arrange to live very peacefully, material nature is such that despite all your arrangements, problems will come. You make some arrangement to retire with a nice bungalow in a good area in a city, very nice, very peaceful, nice servants. You don't know what's going to happen. The servant may poison you, you thought they were good and they weren't. Or some riot may come, or someone may steal all your money, or you get run over in a bus accident and crippled. You don't know. You might live a relatively peaceful life, you might not. Because the nature of this material world is, you can't tell what's going to happen. You can never guarantee that everything will be very nice. It's the very nature of this world. It must be difficult. But Krishna says, you become conscious of me, Krishna conscious. I will help you to cross over that. To crossover, that means what? It means going back home, back to Godhead, where there are no more problems. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that you'll ever come to any position in this material world where there won't be problems. So a devotee, he sees that these problems, difficulties, that is Krishna's mercy. Those whose faith in Krishna is weak, if any difficulty that comes, they say, what is this? Why is Krishna giving me so many problems? Many times we find newer devotees, they come and they say, well, we're chanting Hare Krishna, but why is it we're still getting problems? They don't understand what Krishna consciousness is. Krishna consciousness means to be conscious of Krishna, not demanding from Krishna that you should solve this problem, that problem. You may have to face that. So what should a devotee think? He doesn't think it's Krishna's fault. He thinks it's my fault. It must be I did something wrong, so now I'm getting a karmic reaction, which is actually the fact. It's not that Krishna hates us and therefore he's giving us problems, but rather because we're in this material world because we're sinful anyway. Ichcha dvesha samutena tandramohena bharata sarvabhutani sammoham sargayanti parantapa. Everyone has come into this material world because we have material desires and envy of Krishna, and that expands into envy of others. Therefore, in our endeavors to enjoy this material world, we do harm to others. Therefore, we're caught in a chain of sinful reactions. So if something bad happens to us, we should think, I must have done something to deserve this. But a devotee, he takes shelter of Krishna and he thinks that now I'm suffering some sinful reaction. Let it come. Let it come. But let me remember Krishna. Tatenu kambam susamikshama pujana ivatna kritam vipakam vibhaga vapudhiya vidatam namaste jiveta yo muktis pade sadaya bhav. This is the formula for success. This is how to live. This is the formula given by Lord Brahma. He gives a very good secret. How to live in this material world and make your way back to Godhead. He says that anyone who lives in this material world, tolerating whatever difficulties come, thinking that this is my sinful reaction, but anyway let me go on worshipping Krishna. Krishna becomes pleased with such a person. That he's not demanding anything from him. But whatever happens, he's simply accepting. Krishna delivers such a person back to Godhead. The example is, there are so many examples. Parikshit Maharaj, he was cursed to die within 7 days from the bite of a snake. Can you imagine? He was a king, young, popular, pious. All of it just as sudden. Now you have to die. 7 days. Can we imagine any one of us? We're going on with our life, making plans, and maybe I'll get a promotion after 2 years, and my eldest son's at college, and I have to get my daughter married, and this and that, so many plans, and after some time maybe I'll retire, making something. All of a sudden, come here, now we're going to shoot you. Shocking! You'll have to die one time or another, but we don't. We've all planned in our minds that, well, I'll probably live to be 70 or 75, I'll do this and I'll do that. All of a sudden, all right, now you're going to be shot. That was Parikshit Maharaj. 7 days. He wasn't disturbed. He said, let the takshak, come and bite me. That's all right. But I just want to go on hearing the narrations of Krishna. Fixed in Krishna consciousness. Such a devotee is guaranteed to go back to God. So, who knows what's going to happen? No one can say. Especially in the modern age, there are so many sinful activities going on. People are eating beef, slaughterhouse meat. They're drinking. They're married, divorced, prostitutes. There's so many sinful activities are going on. The world is overburdened with sinful activities. So, result of mass sinful activities, especially mass slaughterhouses, is mass disturbance in the form of wars, earthquakes, other natural disturbances. So many things may happen. or even in our personal life. Who knows what will happen? But a devotee has to be prepared that whatever happens, I must keep my faith in Krishna. That is the test. When everything is very peaceful, we may chant Hare Krishna. That's nice. But in great difficulty, will we remember Krishna? Difficulties will be the very least difficulty. At the very least, we all have to face the difficulty of death. Old age and death is not very easy. I think we all have the experience. When we get sick, then our sadhana becomes very difficult. We can't chant. All we can think of is this body. How miserable. But death is much worse. All the life airs and everything is all thrown out. How are we going to think of Krishna? We have to practice with it. We have to have faith in Krishna. Here Krishna is saying, you have faith in me, I will look after you. So this is the consciousness that a devotee is cultivating. That Krishna is my true friend. Krishna is my real friend. Krishna can help me. Krishna will help me if I take shelter of him. So Krishna consciousness means cultivating the consciousness of taking shelter of Krishna. Praying to Krishna. Krishna, please deliver me to your lotus feet. I want to serve you. Please help me. I'm not capable. I'm so rascal. I'm kind of half attempting to be Krishna conscious. Please take me and make me your servant. This is a devotee's prayer. So if we sincerely endeavor like that, Krishna will look after us. That should be the faith of the devotee. Whatever happens, whatever it may be, I must keep my faith in Krishna. Don't be disturbed by any material situation. Don't be disturbed by the talks of atheists. Have faith in Krishna. Krishna certainly helps his devotees who keep their faith in him. The devotee goes on hearing about Krishna, praying to Krishna, becoming Krishna conscious, knowing that my real friend is Krishna. We have many tests ahead of us. We have many tests. Before we go back to Godhead, we have to show Krishna that we're very serious to serve him. So we have many tests. How are we going to... Is our faith really in Krishna? Have we really surrendered to Krishna? Maybe many tests. So devotees should practice Krishna consciousness with great faith, with great hope, with great longing. Krishna will please deliver them. And to such a devotee, certainly Krishna will deliver them. You may test him very severely. But if a devotee always remains faithful to Krishna, Krishna will deliver him back to God. That is our aim of life. So there's much more could be said, but time is limited. We're talking about constitutional duties and conditional duties. So I think you all have conditional duties of office and work tomorrow morning. So there's a time limit. There's a time limit on our lecture and our program, but there's no time limit on remembering Krishna. So we may finish this program fairly soon, but it's not like turning off the TV. Now Krishna consciousness is finished. That will go on day and night.